class. Today I'm going to talk about collections. And so our last class was about classes, and today is going to be about collections. And those of you that was in that class that just passed, I'd like you guys to still look at this and learn one or two things from it. Though it's going to be very basic. Maybe our today class might talk things a bit more complex and broad, so you can learn more things about collection. But in today's class is going to be simple stuff. The simple stuff about collections. So, what are collections and why do we need them in building apps? We'll just name a file called collections here, and in this file, we are going to be writing everything related to collections in here. So, what are collections in that? Collections in that are a group of data. So, when you group a data and then keep one place, that's collection in that. And this grouping of data in a single place can be done in different ways. So, that brought about having different types of collection. And in our class today, we will be talking about list and map if time permits us. But if it doesn't, we are going to stop at list. So list is an ordered collection. In that, in other programming language, you can perceive them as array, and they are order collection in the sense that they have an ID, or I usually call them ID, but you can call them index, and their index always start from 0, 1, 2, and so forth. And to create that collection, a that list collection, is for you to use main. So you use main this way, and then you use let's say you use var, and then you do names, so plural, and then you can use any naming just for understanding purpose. And the next thing you need to do here is then start adding your element. So whatever value that is inside a list is called elements, or you call them items. So to create a list collect. So to create a list in that, you have to create it this way using the square bracket, and also assigning that to a variable. For in our own case here, I have names, and then to add an item. So whatever that is in this list is called item or element. So to add an element, you can initialize, or you can, as you're assigning to the names, as you're assigning this list to this name, you can add some elements, right? For example, I have Paul, I have Segu, and then if I print this, you see that this is a list. And then if I run this, then you can see we have Paul and Segu, and this is inside the list. So we cannot actually do all of this with code, like having to add this manually. But what if we want to do it programmatically? List, whenever you, like for example, as we over on this, you can see that this is a list of string, because inside here there are string. But if we add like a different value, you see it's a object or dynamic. But that's not really the case. One of the things I want to talk about is for you to add items to this list dynamically. Programmatically, which is you can use names dots, and it's going to go in and then check methods that that a list has. So if I go here, a list has a lot of method, like a lot of things. A list has a lot of things, and one of them is add. And then I can add a new item to this list. Let's say I want to add Joe, and then if I run this, you can see we have Paul, Segu, and Joe. And a list also, you can also remove item programmatically without just maybe deleting manually. You can also do that using the remove. So you can do remove, and then you specify the name of whoever you want to remove. In our case, I want to remove Paul, and then if I run this, it's going to be Sego and Joe. Now I talked about the IDs in list. So like the Paul here is the first item and Sego is the second item. So the ID of Paul, or the index of Paul, is 0, and the index of Sego is 1. So if I want to remove this using the index, I can easily do that and just do can do names dot remove at. So it's going to ask for the index, and I'm going to pass the index. Let's say I remove these two add and remove right here, and then I pass the index of 0, and then if I run this, you're going to see we only have Sego in this list because it has gone inside and removed this Paul, which is index 0. Get? And then the next one I would just like to show you, one of the method is insert. So insert is like trying to insert an element in a specific index in the list. So let's say we want to insert a new element or item to where Paul is, which is index 0. So I'll specify it, and then I specify also add the whatever item I want to add. So in our case, I'll just add Chidi, and then I'll run this. You see we have Chidi as index 0, Paul, and then the rest of the items in. There are other methods in list you can actually explore. So one of the let's say like a getter or method you can do is length. So names.length actually gets you the length of a list. So we do, this is 1, 2, and 3. Now if I run this, you see that this becomes 3. We have 3 items in this list. And also we can also do things like to get a specific element or item inside this list. So you just use square bracket and then specify it. So you can specify it names, and then you specify the index that you want to get. So in our case, I want to get index 1. So if I get index 1, you see that index 1 is Paul. So why is Paul? Is because index 0 we have added Chidi, so Paul has shifted to index 1, right? And if I remove this Chidi right here, and then I run this, you see that index 1 is 0 because this is index 0 and index 1. So this is how you can actually specify and get elements inside the list. And also there are also some other methods or getter like first. So if I do first, it goes and get the first element in that list, which is Paul. If I do last, it goes and gets the last element in that list, which is Sego. So these are like the basic operations of a list, and if you go more deeply, you can see broader example of a list. So let's comment this out and then look at let's look at maps. So what are maps and why is map useful for us? So map in collections is a key and value type of collection, type of grouping. Let me put it in simpler form. You actually group data in a map with a key. So in our case, for a list, the key is our index, which is 0. But in the case of map, you actually create your key yourself. The key is customizable, not just given to you by the language. So and your value is also customizable. Like you can add and any type of value you want to add, any type of key you want to add. So an example of creating a map or dictionary in other programming language. So let's say we have same thing as names. You use curly braces. So you use curly braces. If I overrun this, you can see that we have a map of dynamic and dynamic. So this is the key, and also this is the key. Now what this is saying is that this can be any key and this can be any value. So an example of how to add an item to a map is very simple. So first thing we need to do is to print this item, this map. So let's just run this. You see we have curly brace which is empty, and to add to this you can just do item names, then you specify your key, which let's say names, we do name, and then we do equal to, then we do Paul. Then if I run this, you see we have key, name, and then we have value Paul. Just the way you actually see our variable is, we have the variable name and then the value. So in this case we have the key and also the value, and it's easy, just like the way we also add it like this manually. We can actually do the same thing here by doing, let's say name, we do Segun, and then if I run this, you can see we have sorry, so name must not you must not use the same key that you have used. So in my case here I have Paul, sorry, and then I have Segu, which is name, which is Segu, and I'm also using name here, and what happens here, it override what was Segu and then replace it with Paul. So you have to use something like, let's say name 1 and then name 2. So if I run this, you're going to see name 1, which is Segu, and name 2, which is Paul. So this is how you actually add an item. And to remove an item inside this map, an element, you need to specify the key. So an example of that, you just need to do names.remove, and then you specify the key you want to remove. So if I over on this, you can see remove key, and it also said value. So for example, we want to remove key 1. So we want to remove key 1, and then if I run this, you see that we have only key 2 left here. And there are some other things you can actually do with maps, and you can actually do things like length, to get the total length in a map. So if in our case, if I remove this, if I comment out this remove right here, you see that we have two item in this, the first one and the second one. And then to get the length, you just need to do names.length, and then run this. You just get the length, which is 2. And then there's some other things that you could do with map, which might not come in this class, but these are like the basic of how to create an item inside the map, how to delete, and how to show it using the print statement, which we are all doing here. So if you have any question on this particular thing, please just let me know and we'll talk about it. Thank you.